Okay, I think we're live. Testing the audio. Nice, seems to be working. All right. Episode 2 of this vibe coding adventure. And I think already we've broken out of the vibe coding mold, because you're supposed to kind of imagine the code doesn't exist. And we already had to like dive into the code, like the documentation for some of the APIs for Convex, and make direct changes in the code, because we got in this kind of loop with Chef trying to make its changes. Yeah, so anyway, I've created this repository. Currently it's private. There are 4 commits. Basically, the 4 times I downloaded the code in the last episode, I committed them as separate bunches of changes. And yeah, to remind everyone what the app does, it is not an initial setup. Let's call this one it's vibe coding a poker study app. This is episode 2. Cool. So we have this app set up. You can sign in anonymously. Looks like the data that was allocated to me, or to my user yesterday, it's not wiped. I think it still exists in the database. Yeah, so if we look in tables and we go to users, yeah, we've got 2 users in the table here. And yeah, that will be the one user that I logged in as myself yesterday, and then another user that's logged in today. So there are sessions in here, but they're allocated to yesterday's user, which may or may not be a problem. We can always recreate some of them. I'm just checking. Okay, I think I have. Yeah, I have. Unfortunately, I'm working on just a single screen today, so I need to, if I want to see like the chat for YouTube, we should be live on YouTube and on Twitch. I have to come to this other separate window, and yeah, I'm streaming from my mobile internet, so tethering to my phone. I'm not at home on my regular computer and regular internet. Okay, so let's create a session, because we need a test session with a test session description, just to try and remind myself of what the app does currently, and what we might want to do to it to like what we might want to add to it. Okay, so we need to add an activity. So this will be some video we watched. And one thing I didn't actually check yesterday was whether the YouTube video embedding works in a different browser. So let's add a note. This is the first note. Cool, we have a note. All right, so that's kind of our scenario and the way things work. So I need to kind of like, flip up here. No, I need to go to the other workspace to see if there's any chats going on YouTube. Yeah, I have the Twitch app Stream Manager open on my phone, so I can see the chats directly in there, but I have to go to a different browser to see any chats from YouTube. Okay, so what are the features we want or need? Like, I have some I guess like UX changes where I think we could have like the sessions in a left-hand column, and then you click on the session in the left-hand column that selects it, and then you could have all of the activities in a second column, and then when you click on an activity, it would show the details of the activity in the right-hand side. Kind of like how email works, where you have the details on the right hand panel. However, we kind of need like the session details at the top, and then the activity underneath, and then the notes. Alternatively, we could like click on the activity to take us to a separate page, which would then just have the notes embedded in the page underneath, rather than having this show hide note thing. Not sure what is ideal, but this is not really adding additional functionality to the app. It's just kind of rearranging what we've got, which we could do later. So what other functionality would we want? So one thing is, it would be nice to have like more than a plain text description. This is the feature that, if you were here for the previous episode, I mentioned that I've built this app before, got into a situation where it got into like this infinite loop of crashing and then retrying to implement. And that was when I asked it to implement like rich text editing of the description field. I don't know what happened when I don't know what was happening with it failing there. So I'm kind of scared to try to implement that. But it is what it is, I suppose. Other things that we could add are, like, if we choose a GTO analysis, or if we drop a GTO analysis URL into the form, it should choose GTO analysis and then like extract data out of the URL to render the details of the specific spot. So if you're just looking for the overview of it, you don't need to specifically go to the URL. So maybe we could do something like that. I could bring up a GTO wizard. Let's just pick a random spot. Let's go 40, and we'll say low jack raises and the big blind calls. And well, no, let's say reset that. Low jack raises and the actions on the big blind. So that's the URL we have. We copy that and we go here. Okay, so what we want to say is, when the user enters a GTO solver URL such as the GTO analysis activity type should automatically be selected and we should display along with the activity all of the situational context that can be extracted from the URL, such as the stack depth, game type, pre-flop, and post-flop actions, including the player positions of who performed them, etc. Let's just make sure we copy that prompt and see what happens. I wonder if it is possible to connect the chef session to a Git repository, so we don't have to download the code and then add it to the repo separately. I can pop out the chat, so then I don't need to worry about this other workspace. I can just see it right here. Cool. Okay, I'll just close some of these other windows, make it easier to check. Okay, so we have the chat there. Alright, so it made some changes. Type check failed. Like it's missing a mutation or something. Maybe it's called create. Type check failed again. Object literal may spend date does not exist in this dojo. Does it? Okay, the GTO wizard URL detection that automatically sets the type, extracts information displayed in a clean format under the activity URL when viewing the activity. Let's have a look at how it works. So let's go grab that URL and let's add this. So if we paste that in there, cool, it automatically changes to GTO analysis, some GTO solver analysis, 30-minute duration. Okay, so it has detected the game type as MTT, the stack depth is 40.125 big blinds. Unsure why it does that, but that's just what comes out of the URL. The pre-flop action was under the gun folded, under the gun +1 folded, middle position raised, middle position +1 folded, hijack fold, cutoff fold, button fold. I think that's incorrect. So let's say here, for the game type equals MTT general, there are only 8 players starting in the hand, so the positions should be under the gun 1, low jack, high jack, cut off button, small blind, big blind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there's a different game type. Yeah, under the gun 1, low jack, high jack, cut off button, and then there's a different type if we choose 9. Let's say we pick a 9 and then pick 40 blinds again. Okay, and then let's just double check the URL. Okay, so this one, okay, is like this. For the game type equals, there are 9 players starting in the hand, so the positions should be under the gun 1. What do we do? Under the gun 2, and then low jack. Under the gun 2, low jack, high jack, cut off button, small blind, big blind. Okay, let's tell it that and see if it'll make some updates. I didn't save the code, so we're in that world again. Okay, so it's put game type MTT8 max. So it made a change there. Cool. I've updated the position mapping to correctly handle both game types. And now it says, yeah, low jack raised to 2.3, small blind fold. Okay, now what I would like to have is the last, I guess we should have specifically what is the action that we're looking at right now. So let's also add the details of which player is currently facing the action. For example, with this URL, let's use the same URL that we've been using previously. It changes back to 840, and it was low jack, and then big blind is facing. And let's copy that URL. For this URL, we should display BB turn to act. I'm not sure about the wording here, but maybe it's just big blind to act. Or maybe action on BB. After the pre-flop action breakdown. Okay. I wonder if it would be possible to render, like to ask it to kind of display this in a visual way rather than just a list of items. I'll try some more complicated URLs and drop them in. But I have an idea for something else to change. Which is more just a nicety. I kind of feel like now I'm starting to need a backlog of... Okay, we have action on big blind there now, within a different color even. Okay, let's try a more complicated one. So let's say the big blind raises to 9.2 now. So now the action's on the low jack. Let's copy that. And let's try this out. We'll add a new activity. Oh, the URL is going way over there. Okay, let's add a new activity, drop the URL in there. BB pre-flop 3-bit. Okay, add activity. Okay. So low jack raises, action on under the gun. There is a bug. We are not correctly counting players that have folded. For this URL, the action should be on the LJ, not UTG, because UTG previously folded. I'll update the position tracking to account for players who've already acted and folded. Okay, let's see. This should update to action on low jack. All right, that works. So now it says action on low jack. Let's do another even more complicated one. So let's say under the gun is going to raise. Under the gun 1's going to re-raise. Button's going to go all in. Under the gun is going to fold. And then we're facing. Under the gun 1 is facing the action. Okay, let's add a new one. More complicated scenario. Okay. Two 2.3, 6.8, raise AIX. Okay, so that's all in. It's put an X there because it thinks it should put X at the end of things, but that's not correct. Okay, let's say when RAI appears in the URL, that refers to raise all in. So the display should be raise all in. 40 dB if the all in raise is to 40 big blinds. display the actual size as known. Okay, get that fixed. Okay, it says raise all in 40.125 BB. I think the 0.125 thing is some I don't know what that is, why the URL is showing that. Let's tell it that it's yeah, let's have a look at a different size. So like 35. Does that put 35.125 in the URL? So we'll just drop it down here. Yeah, 35.125. Okay, so let's just tell it appears that when the stack size is defined as 40.125, that should just be displayed as 40 big lines. For whatever reason, the URL is containing an extra 0.125. Same goes for other stack sizes. So let's remove that 0.125 from the display anywhere that is appropriate. Okay, so now we just have 40 BB, 40 BB. Very good. I think this is good for now. We probably should fix this visual issue here. Okay, instead of embedding the whole URL for display, let's use a label such as we had one for a video, right? So does it put the URL directly? It does put the URL directly in there. That's an interesting one because it's not embedding. It must know that that's not really the URL. Link to GTO wizard or link to YouTube, etc. Okay, maybe after this one we'll download the code. Okay, nice. There's a link to GTO Wizard, and then we just have the buttons back over here. They're not being washed off the screen. Nice. Okay, now I think we have a bit more room on the, horizontal room. We can maybe not display these as an unordered list. So yeah, maybe a little bit more tweaking before we... Okay, let's download the code just to be safe. Okay, let's reformat the action list. Instead of an unordered list of items, let's display them like UTG fold arrow, UTG1 fold arrow, etc. While that's happening, let's go grab a we're going to do button raises to 2.3, big blinds, big blind calls. Flop is going to be, what's everyone's favorite flop? King 7 2. Okay. So now we're going to have a post flop thingy. Post flop GTO analysis. Okay, all right, now we've got a chain of actions. Nice. I would like this to be on the end there as well. Okay, let's put the action on text as the last item in the chain of actions. Dev Ninja, am I dreaming? How long didn't I see you live? Yes, you are dreaming. How you doing there? It has been a long time since I've been live. I was live yesterday, but I mean before that I was on hiatus, if you will. How are you doing? I don't know if you've been watching what we've been building here and how we've been doing it. But we are currently vibe coding. Doing good, thanks for asking. Yes, I'm doing very well as well. We're doing some vibe coding. And why are we doing it? Because I know how to code. Last time I saw you live was at Jarvis thingy. Oh, that was a very long time ago. The last time I posted a video on my YouTube channel for devs was almost 2 years ago, or maybe more than 2 years ago. So we have a duplicate action on UTG1, action on UTG1. I don't know if you previously had a different username on Twitch. Yeah. Ah, 7. How you doing? I do remember you. Yep, so I'm doing some vibe coding here with Chef by Convex, and I'm using it to build a study tool for my hobby that I have, which is playing poker, Texas Hold'em. And why am I doing vibe coding? I am interested in it. I would like to demonstrate the challenges um, that pop up when trying to use these tools without knowing how to actually code, um, or knowing like one more layer down. 6 a.m. here in Germany. Good morning. What are you having for breakfast? Bratwurst? I don't know if that's a breakfast food. Just like what I know about Germany. Okay, so let's see this thing here where we've got like an accidental double label. This feels like a thing where I don't want to spend AI tokens on fixing this thing. Haven't even slept yet. What have you been doing? Up late coding or something? So I'm just going to have a quick look at the code. So, we're breaking out of the vibe code because we're supposed to, not even consider it existing. And it would be in the activity card. Did some Elixir. Oh, nice. Elixir's on my list of, things to potentially learn one day, but I don't know if I'll get around to it. Have you used any of these AI tools before? I really like Chef because it, Convex, I suppose, because like it gives you the whole app, an app with a front end and a back end, and a whole heap of cool stuff in between. Okay, so pre-flop actions, and then we've got current position. Why do we see two of them? Is it because this should go away because it's been somehow put into the pre-flop actions? Um, hmm. Where does the pre-flop actions come from? I think it comes from the database. GTO info. Oh no, parse GTO wizard URL. uh, we can allow that. I don't know why. Now, how do I get back out of here? There we go. I'm rebuilding a game or O game. Web-based space simulation with combat and such for learning Phoenix components. Ah, nice. Okay, so we need to have a look at this parse GTO wizard URL, which comes from the libutils. It is live view, which is basically React view on the server side. Oh, nice. So, like, server components. Okay, preflop actions. Okay. Do I want to... Oh, there we go. Like, current position equals... And then formatted actions. It adds the position to the action chain. So, I feel like we don't need to have that that item in the bidirectional. Right, okay. So is it using WebSockets or something else? I feel like we don't need the... Where is it? We actually can just remove this line here. So I'm going to do it directly rather than like telling the AI to do anything. And then we don't need to do this whole junk now. We can just go boop. Yep. Looks good. Let's hit save. File saved. And yeah, we fixed that bug. Now, yeah, maybe something will come up again in the future. Yeah, related to this. Yeah, maybe I've caused a different bug, but I felt like we didn't want to actually tell the AI to go and fix that one. Because to me it was like a waste of money. Okay, so what do we want to do next? Oh yes, we wanted to try a URL. So I don't know, Dev Ninja, or is it Ninja? Played a bit with Bolt like in November, but don't think those tools will stick around. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. I already got into a scenario where the AI caused an error and couldn't fix itself. It was writing code that just like would never work and kept trying to write that code. I don't know where it was getting like the syntax from. Pronounced like ninja. Okay, cool. Let's add an activity and one with some post flop. Whoop. Oh. YA are the first two letters of my real name. Cool. Okay, what do we have? One with some post flop. Big blind call, action on button. That doesn't seem right, does it? Action is not on the button. Action is not on the button. Okay, so what is the URL? Okay, let's tell the AI. A URL such as this one indicates that we are at the flop. We have the board defined and the action will be on the big blind. Okay, before I enter that, I'm going to download the code again. So I feel like now, as we're starting to flesh out the details of the activity, now it kind of makes sense that and if we were going to have like quite a few notes under each activity, it feels like this is the point where we would want to maybe extract this out to a separate page or something. Friends of mine had the same issue. One field wasn't selected from Superbase and AI wanted to make changes across the whole app. Couldn't identify the problem properly. He pasted the error message directly in the chat window. Yeah. I had to look up the documentation for the code it was trying to use. Then I had to actually go to GitHub, find the component that it was trying to use, see how to use it, make the change manually in the code, and then we were good to go. Okay, so here we're incorrect. We are incorrectly displaying action on button, for example, when the action is on the flop. in the pre-flop actions list, for example, when the action is on the flop, comma, when the action, no, just when the action is on the flop. There should be a flop action heading with action on Big B. Big B is the first to act in this example. Those tools are pretty dependent on the wording, content of the message. He wrote things I didn't really get it. Tried my luck, AI got it properly. Lucky for us devs is most people cannot describe the... Yes, exactly. People can't even describe the problem to us. And we can kind of infer things a bit more than the AI can. One thing I found with this particular one, and I don't know if it's with all of them, but one thing with this particular thing is the way that I understand how it works is when it wants to make a change to a file, it effectively like rewrites the whole file. And so it's kind of interesting, but it's actually good or better for the AI if things are extracted out to their own files, very similar to you know, for people, if we refactor and extract things out into smaller files, separate files with, you know, maybe one reason to change, then the AI won't accidentally go and change the whole file. And what happened to me was it would delete components in files when it didn't mean to. So that's it's kind of cool to note that, because like it actually says refactoring is good for people and good for the machine. Okay, good. We've got this displaying correctly here. Now this is very text heavy. I'm going to download the code because I think we're at like I'm like kind of a little bit paranoid, so I keep downloading the code along the way because we're not in a source controlled repository here, and as soon as I prompt the AI, it could go and like screw everything up, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, so it's very text heavy. It would be nice if we could view this kind of a little bit more graphically. However, I'm not going to make that change right now. That could be something that we do separately. What I want to do now is I don't want to like hide and show the notes. So this is a note. I'm not sure, Dev Ninja, if you're familiar with Texas Hold'em poker, but what I'm trying to do here is build a tool to help me track my study. You're not. Well, I mean, like, this tool could probably be used for many other things, but it's going to be like, you know, kind of more catered to studying of poker. But Dev is fine. So is Ninja. Ninja Dev, Dev Ninja. Yeah. So basically, you know, when you go to study whatever it is, you're learning a programming language or you're learning something at poker, you might watch a video that explains something, you might read an article, you might talk to, you know, some other people that know about it or they don't know about it, and you're just discussing and digging into things yourself. You might use some kind of tool to help you learn. This tool that I'm using is meant to be a journal of tracking those sessions, and you take notes against each activity. Say you watch a video, you'll take notes during watching of the video, enter them into here, and keep track for yourself. Maybe you write some like key takeaways, etc. So that's what I'm trying to build here, is a tool that does that. So you can add notes to this particular thing. Link to GTO Wizard is a poker analysis tool, a very powerful one. And then I've also got like a YouTube link down here as another example. So yeah, that's what I'm building. I kind of feel like we want the notes to actually be embedded in the activity card rather than being hidden. So I'm going to tell the AI, I would like the notes to always be displayed in the activity card. We no longer need the ability to hide and show the notes. Okay, let's give that a whirl. I don't know how long I've been live so far. What does this say? Almost an hour. Probably will drop out somewhat soon. We're getting a bit more of the functionality that I'm looking for in the app, which is nice. Learning a little bit more about how the AI works. I think I'm able to make things at. Okay, we got an error. We encountered an error while running the preview. Would you like Chef to analyze and help resolve? Server error, could not find public function notes list. Ask Chef. So I think it may have like accidentally removed the note functionality because I said I don't need to show the notes. Okay. Refresh. Okay. Yep. Oh, no. Still got the problem. Could not find public function for notes list. Did you forget to run this and that? And so it begins. Okay, so notes list. And it's there. Let's just ask Chef again. Okay, it's doing a redeploy. TypeScript failed. Hopefully it can fix this TypeScript problem. I have a little bit of a problem with the way that it kind of works. Like it'll make changes, run the TypeScript. TypeScript will fail, then it will have to go and try fix TypeScript. It'll fix it, run it again, maybe it'll fail again, maybe not. And then like it kind of doesn't have an infinite loop, but it's a bit of an internal loop. And yeah, it just chews through your tokens or your credits, which I kind of don't like that. Making a change now. Still failing. Got 2 errors now. So it had 8 and then... Okay, let's dismiss this. Had 8 errors, it's down to 2. So it's... Yeah, in that loop. Yeah, once we get this working, I might log off because it's really cold in this hotel room. Even though I turned the aircon up. Okay, still failing TypeScript. Less now? No, we've got more. I might actually tell it to extract the utils out into their own files. I mean, this file seems... Oh, that was activity card. Okay, still failed. Problem now. Okay, one error in add activity, GTO info. GTO info. Let's have a look at this. Okay, let me deploy these changes. The chat stopped because of repeated errors. You can send a message to try again. So yeah, it basically got error, another error, same error, and it's just decided to stop. Now, how do we get it to tell us what the problem is? Package JSON. I think we do lint npx run lint npx lint. Is that how you do it? No. npm run lint. What also bothers me is you don't get full IDE. Yeah, yeah. So there's an extra field called date that is not in the validator. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there's a date there. Why is there no date in the activity? It's like it just removed something from this. Yeah. Where is the... Kind of don't understand why it would get rid of the date of the activity. Let's just say this is the error. See if it'll fix just that one error. I see the issue. The date field is not in our schema but is referenced somewhere. Let me check and remove any references to it. But what if I want it? Why did it remove the date? Okay, TypeScript's taking a bit long. What's the problem now? Okay, the date is in the database. We need to clear the activities table since there's an existing document with a date field that's not in our schema. What if I say, like, let's add... What is convex? Never heard of it. Convex is... So chef is the like AI tool. So chef.convex.dev. But then like convex is, I guess, the company. And it has like these extra tools. And it's the backend for AI apps. Yeah, convex.dev. I suppose it's like backend as a service kind of thing. Now, how do we tell it that activities should have a date? Or do we just go and clear them from the list? Like I can go to database and just go sessions, clear table, and then where is it? Users, clear table. And oops, users. I didn't mean to clear the users table, but whatevs. Okay, cool. Now we'll go here. We'll sign out. Okay, we're signed out. Try again now. Yeah, failed to push. Why did you fail to push? Oh, the notes table. Okay, I gotta get rid of that as well. Notes. Clear table. Confirm. Okay. Try again. Try again, please. Okay, it pushed the functions this time. Let's go to the preview. Wait for it to say that it's done. Cool. All right, sign in anonymously. Session not found. What has happened? Session list. Your sessions. Okay. Something was weird there. It needed a refresh. Let's just sign out and sign in again. Yeah. Needed a refresh, but we have the ability to new session, description, session not found. The sessions are there, users are there. Give it a refresh. Yeah. Something weird happening when going to the session. It says it's not found. When navigating to the session, I am seeing a session not found error. Something happened previously where it said, oh, the routing is the problem, I'll fix that. Hopefully we can get it back to like our working state, and then I will get it to add the date back to everything, and then maybe finish up there. It's kind of interesting as well because it is effectively like rebuilding the whole like the whole component each time, you might end up with different kind of styling and visuals. Like the add activity was not like this before. I don't believe it was like that, but I don't mind it looking like that. Okay, back to sessions. Sign out, sign in, create session, another session, test. Cool. Another session. We've got some activities. We can edit or delete. We go back. Yep. There. Let's add an activity. Cool. Let's grab this URL just because. Drop it there with post flop. Add activity. Okay. Looks like. Okay. It's rearrange things, put the board at the top, and then like flop action. It's missing the pre-flopped action heading. These are some things that I would like to tweak, but maybe they're things that I could do manually if they're just moving stuff around. And then we want notes, so this is the first note. Add, created on 27th of the 4th, added on 27th of the 4th, and then we can add another note. This is the second note. Okay, so now the notes are embedded in the page. Need a little bit of spacing here, but again, that's maybe a thing that we could do manually if they're just small tweaks like that. Okay, so it is a bit more like what I was hoping it would be. Yeah, okay, so let's download the code to make sure we've got something that represents what we've got currently, which is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to extract the utils, because every time it rewrites the utils for whatever reason, it could accidentally go and like screw up one of the other utils that are in the file. Let's extract the utils into separate files. Each util should have its own file. Okay, but we still have this utils.ts file, which we don't want, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually get used. Oh no, libutils. Look, we're not even using the new ones. Libutils. Let's make sure the new util files are consumed and remove the utils.ts file when done. TypeScript failed, of course, because something was still trying to use the utils. How did it forget? How did it not find that usage? Okay, utils is gone. Wait. Is it? still see the file. It's there. It's just empty. Okay, let's go to the terminal and we'll say rm lib rm source lib utils. There we go. Things still seem to be working. Nice. Okay, let's download the code again. It does seem to have changed the way the rendering is again. It's changed it to a blue button instead of that dashed outline thing. Same with the create session. It's a button here, which I think is fine probably. Okay. So session does have a created. Let's have a look. What creation time? Okay. Notes. Activities. They all have creation times. Okay. Okay, so we probably don't need a date. Don't know. Alright, notes are embedded in the page. Yeah, it reordered these things as well. So like the board is here now. And then the flop action. We should have a heading that says pre-flop action, that, and then flop action, blah. And this should say flop at this point. Let's see what happens. I've downloaded the code, right? Let's see what happens when we have a turn card. We'll just check, and then pick a random turn. And copy the URL. Let's add an activity with turn. Put the URL in. Duration doesn't have a default anymore, which is kind of annoying. Okay. So it's got flop action and then action on big blind. It doesn't have the turn action. Okay, with a URL such as this one, we should display the flop actions. In this case, it was BB. Check. Button. Check. We should display the flop above the flop actions, like flop, king hearts, 7 of diamonds, 2 of clubs. Then after the flop actions, we should display the turn and turn actions, such as turn, 10 of clubs, and turn action on BB. Let's see if it's able to figure this out. Not yet. No errors, no errors, no errors, no errors. Looks like it's going long enough, so it wasn't going to fail at that point. Okay, what have we got here? Cool, under the gun, flop, blah. That looks good. Here's, ooh, flop action, BB blank. Flop action, action on button. That is incorrect. Not sure what happened here. Should be action on BB. So I guess we have a look at the activity card. Okay, so there's this, and then this. I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm just going to delete that. Save it. And then flop action, BB blank. So this is wrong. And this turn action one I think is also incorrect because it's not listing out the turn actions. We might need to spend a bit more time kind of telling it what it should look like. Let's have a look at the util. think it's kind of hard coding things for the big blind and the button because I was choosing those particular things. Yeah, on flop, BB acts first, so it's like reactivating the big blind, which is incorrect. Okay, this is kind of like a full result. So with the following URL, let's ensure that we can accurately display an activity with the following URL, which includes flop, turn, and river actions, etc. And let's just, before we submit that, let's add with river actions. Okay, let's go. So this looks correct. Except it's saying raise 12.2x. And then we don't have action on anymore. Here. Okay, so we've got some weird double ups there. Okay, we've got raise AIX instead of raise all in. Anyway, we're going to download the code before we break it. Wait, maybe we need to reload, because it just didn't seem like we should have raise AIX. Interesting. Okay, so nowhere in the code does it specify the string raise AIX, so it must be like something like this going on. Action starts with size equals action.slice. Okay. We should put this RAI before that one. And it annoys me that there's multiple of these going on, but whatever. Okay, so we're going to move the raise all in this. Going to go above this for all of the items, because all in is a special scenario here as well. Okay, now we're correctly got raise all in. Although something weird going on here where it's like action on. So we need to fix the action on part. So we go to activity card. I want to put a heading here. Pre-flop action. Okay, pre-flop action. And we're going to just put them together with the label for the moment. That's what all of the other things have. Pre-flop action, and then the list, and then the flop, flop action, turn, turn action. Okay. So the point where we have this action on is the problem, or is a problem. Okay. So I think we take this. we put it up with the flop. And, well, actually it should go on the end of this, right? Okay, let's take this and we put it inside here, and we just get rid of the P, and instead of flop action we do that. And then we do the same thing for turn, except only if we don't have the river. We don't need this. And then we always put it here, action on current position for the river. And then I don't think we need that. Save. Okay. So it seems like we're getting some turn actions when we shouldn't. But it's correct here. So on this URL, it looks like it's getting some turn actions when it shouldn't. So same with the flop. So when there are no actions of that type of thing, it's actually getting some. So we have to look at this. It could be due to this weird thing here. Okay, so turn actions equals turn actions raw.map. Which it should result in nothing. So empty string split, what does that actually result in? It ends up with an item in it of empty. And that's wrong. It should have nothing. Okay, so turn actions raw is get the turn actions. So these things should be get the thing if it's null. If it's not null, then split it, but if it's null, then just return an empty list. So, how are we going to do this? So I think we just use a ternary instead. So let's just check. Pretty sure if we don't actually have anything. So parsed URL equals new URL test. Oh, we need an actual URL. Copy this one. It's not going to have the thing in it, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Okay. Parsed URL equals that one. Then we go parsed URL dot search params dot get flop actions. What does it give us? It gives us null. Okay. So let's do this. If it equals null. Then return empty list. Otherwise, get it and split it. So I'm just going to define a function here. Function get street actions from params. I don't actually know the type of it. Street. And that's going to be if const actions equals params.get street, if action is null, return empty list, otherwise return action dot split the hyphen. Now we've completely lost stuff. If we get an error. Okay, we've got some errors. Params is undefined. Right there. Oh, we're not passing them in. Okay, fair enough. Params. Okay, so it's working for the river. The river has a correct thing that says action on button. but turn doesn't have action on anybody, doesn't have the turn actions. Flop doesn't have the flop actions. And that's probably because it's got, yeah, only if there are any actions, which there are not. Okay, so now we need to kind of extract this out. Like there's an else here. There's no flop actions. And we don't have the river or turn, then we should have action there, I think. It's gonna be a bit of repeated stuff. So if not flop actions, then that, I think. We don't need that, I guess. There's nothing. Just action straight on the big blind. Same for turn. Okay, we just need base, I think. I'll leave that as is. Let's do something where we're partially on the flop. So here, big blind checks. No. Big blind's going to bet, and then the button actions on button. Let's copy that. Go here. Let's add a new one. We'll say partial flop action. Yeah, we need to add space there, but it is working. And then we'll have a partial turn action, so this will be call, and then the turn comes whatever, and then say big blind checks. Okay, seems to be working now. A little bit of formatting that's needed though, like there needs to be a space there. I feel like we need to maybe put these in. Do this. When I'm using this, I want to go like squiggly blah. That. Okay, looking better now. Download the code, and that's going to be enough for today, I think. So I will end stream there. Thanks for watching.